Hey everyone, this is Pete, and with the Winter Olympics 2026 unfolding at the time of recording, I had a bit of a hankering to play a Winter Olympics game. I've always been a bit of a fan of Olympics games, be they about the summer or winter games, and regardless of the rather tepid critical reception they tend to get. And there's still a bunch I've never played, like today's game, the rather simply titled Winter Olympics from 1993, the official video game of the 1994 Olympic Winter Games in Norway. This game was published by US Gold and developed by Tiertex, which is a combination of words that will probably strike fear into the hearts of some of you watching this, but I'm willing to give it a chance. The game came out on a whole host of different platforms, including Amiga, Mega Drive, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Game Gear, MS-DOS and Master System, and there's some significant differences between the various ports. We'll be playing the Master System version today because the Master System doesn't get nearly enough love, and some would say it's history's greatest console. Winter Olympics actually had some semi-decent reviews back in the day too. The UK's Sega Pro magazine gave it a rating of 77%, noting that it was not a bad Winter Olympics game, but an improvement in the variety of events could have enhanced the overall interest. The second opinion viewpoints from other magazine staff members were a little bit more lukewarm, feeling that it was relatively uninspiring and probably wouldn't keep your interest that long. The UK's Sega magazine reviewed the Master System version alongside its Mega Drive counterpart and actually felt like it came out slightly ahead of the 16-bit version in most areas, though still felt the overall experience was worth a mediocre 63%. Reviewer Richard Ledbetter, yes, he of Digital Foundry fame, noted that he found it was quite remarkable that the 8-bit version of Winter Olympics is in many ways superior to the top-spec 16-meg Mega Drive cartridge, with some of the 8-bit events actually being more playable. His fellow reviewer, Ed Radeon Automatic Lawrence, was less positive though, noting that the Winter Olympics are perfect material for a video game. Almost all the events are fast-paced and exciting, which is why it's so perplexing that every event in this conversion is so cripplingly slow. The lack of any real skill needed for some of the events is unforgivable. So, with all that in mind, let's go play Winter Olympics. Okay, here we are with Winter Olympics for Sega Master System, the official video game of the 1994 Winter Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway. So yeah, I've not played this before, aside from a quick practice just to make sure it all works and everything before we recorded here. And yeah, I quite like it. I think it's a decent little Olympics video game. Now, like I said in the intro, I've always been very fond of Olympic games on computer and console because they, at heart, they are a collection of mini games, which I know some people scoff at, but you know, the thing I like about games like this is that you can sit down, you can have a nice self-contained play session, and within that play session you can have a nice varied experience with all the different things that you might want to do. Okay, so first things first is we put in our name. And I'm going to be a lady athlete today, so let's put in my habitual lady name, Maurice. Let's select a flag. Let's choose girl, and then this option here determines how the skiing events work. So you've got the option where it basically allows you to reverse the controls if you find it more convenient to work that way, or you can use a system where you push the direction and you go in that direction, which is my favoured way to play. But yeah, there's basically an option to choose the rotation from the perspective of the skier or from the perspective of the screen, depending on which you think is easier to deal with. I just prefer to push right to go right on the screen. Okay, so let us begin with the opening ceremony first of all. No Olympic fanfare, sadly. Alright, and we begin with the luge. So one nice thing you'll see about this game is that there are simulated other competitors. If you ever played like the Epix game series, winter games, summer games, that sort of thing, the trouble with playing those in single player is that you didn't have anyone to compete against. So if you were playing single player, you would get the gold medal every time, regardless of what you did. So you were basically just competing against the world records saved on disc. with this though, you've got a field of other competitors to compete against. So, in the luge we begin by hammering buttons to pick up some speed. And then continue to pick up speed on the straights. And steering around the corners. Making sure we don't go too high up the wall and flip over. Basically what you want to try and do is maintain as much speed as possible. Get as good a time as you can. Find that sweet spot in the corners for continuing to gain speed if you can. And make sure you don't hit the walls on the straights, because that will cost you quite a lot of speed. But yeah, if you can maintain about that sort of 80 km/h mark, that will generally put you in pretty good stead. This must be a terrifying event today. I saw a funny post the other day. It was basically comparing the Winter and Summer Olympics, and the Summer Olympics was like, who can run the fastest, who can jump the highest, oh, let's all have fun in the sun together. And then the Winter Olympics is, who can fling themselves down this hill and not die. It just makes me laugh, because it's such a bizarre thing to do. Because like, how do you get into luge? How do you get into doing luge? You don't just go down to the local recreation centre and say, right, I want to ride the luge, because chances are your local recreation centre does not have a luge track. But yeah, it's a thing you've got to want to learn how to do, I guess. And I guess you learn how to do it at specialist facilities. Because there's no way you can just throw yourself into this and go, right, no, I'll be fine. I don't need any practice. I'm experienced at lying down on a tea tray and flinging myself down an icy path. It'll be fine. I probably won't die. But yeah. I gotta say, I am impressed with how good this game looks. One of the recurring things that came up in the reviews I read of this was that the Master System version looked pretty much as good as the Mega Drive version, which is probably more a slight on the Mega Drive version than the compliment of the Master System version. But you know what? I think this looks pretty decent. It moves nice and smoothly. There's a lot of frames of animation on the athletes. It's got a nice style to it. It's got that recognisable sort of Olympics feel to it with the mascots and so on. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Okay, so we came out comfortably on top there. So lovely gold medal for us. Thank you very much indeed. Right, next up is the downhill skiing. So this is one of several events in the game where you have to ski down a hill and pass through the gates. So we start with this. Here we can tap the 2 button to go faster. You can also press the A button to tuck, and apparently that also makes you go faster, but I've never really noticed a real difference with it. So I'm gonna stay untucked, if you'll pardon the expression. And just hopefully comfortably get down the hill. Now you can see how the controls work in this. I'm literally just pushing the direction I want the skier to move on the screen. So here I'm pushing diagonally down, straight down, diagonal. If you need to go sideways you can. And obviously you can't ski uphill because that's ridiculous. But you have to be a bit careful, because if you miss a gate, if you miss a single gate, you'll be disqualified for the whole run. And you still have to complete the run, even though you'll be disqualified at the end of it. Oh, that's cost me slightly. Yeah, I really don't see a difference with between tucking and untucking. So 1 minute 18. Yep, that's comfortably ahead of everyone else. I should note we are playing on the easiest difficulty level here. There is like club, national and Olympic level you can play at. So once you do feel you've mastered these events, you can make things a bit more difficult for yourself. Now some of them are quite a bit harder than others. Like this Moguls event, I really don't understand how this one works. So supposedly what you're supposed to do in this is sort of move back and forth with this meter on the bottom there and do some stunts on the way. And that will score you some points. But I really don't understand how this works. So 8.6. See, that's terrible compared to everyone else. I've read the instructions for this and I just don't understand it. It says press the directional pad in the opposite direction the skier is turning. So right, left, right, left. And then you press the one button in a direction to do a stunt. And I think you want to use the bar at the bottom to try and time your stunt, I guess. But yeah, I really don't get that event at all. 12.9, so that was better for some reason. But yeah, not enough to get a decent result. So we'll just pretend that one didn't happen. Moguls are not my event, but I'm still top of the medal table because I've got 2 gold medals and my nearest rival, France, only has 1. Right, onto the Super G, which is another skiing event. So this works identically to the downhill, except the gates are a bit closer together. So you have to be a little bit more careful with your speed in this one. And make sure you don't miss any. So you see the gates are much more frequent in this one and they're closer together as well. So it's a bit trickier to make your way through them. So whereas the downhill you can pretty much go flat out all the way down, this one you just want to be a little bit more careful. Control your speed a bit more. And sort of snowplow by pointing up the hill a little bit if you do need to slow down. Oh. Nearly missed that one. There we go. Lovely job. 1 minute 11. Again, comfortably ahead of the others. So the skiing events in particular seem to be quite easy, as long as you don't miss any gates. 3 gold medals, very nice. Right, it's time for speed skating now. This is a button bashing one that when I had a quick practice go at this before, I'm not entirely sure I understood completely, because I couldn't quite make out if you need to bash as fast as possible or if you need to do it in a more rhythmic way. And you can control your relative position in the lane by pushing up and down. Right, last lap. So I think ideally you want to try and cut the corners a bit in this. Okay, all came. In fact, I got the exact same time as Team Braun there from Germany. Everyone quite much of a muchness in that. So where did we come? About halfway down. Not bad. Like I say, I don't think I've got the rhythm for that down pat yet. Right, next is the bobsled, which works pretty much the same as the luge. Except you start with this side-on view of you pushing the sled on your road to oblivion. I like the music in this game. I don't know offhand who it's by, but it's got a very sort of 80s/early 90s home computer music composer feel to it. Ooh, up to 96 kilometers an hour. We should comfortably win this one if we can stay in control. Concentration. Ooh, that was scary. Very nice. Yeah, look at that, like over a minute. You all suck. But I've got to do it again anyway. They all get to go first because I was better than all of them. Right, off we go again. Hammer the buttons to get a good start. And just let that speed pick up as you roll down the track. Try and gain a bit on the speed on the corners if you can. But yeah, this is fun. Like, as Olympics games go, this is a decent one, I think. Oh, careful, don't hit the sides. We've crossed the 100km/h mark. Nice, under a minute again. Very nice. Alright, what's next? It's the ski jump. Now, this one's a bit fiddly. And again, I'm not entirely sure I understand it completely, but let's see how we do. So the first thing you do is you press the button to start, and you have to keep the arrow in the red part on the skis if you can. Then if your skier puts his hand out... Oh dear, whoops. 27 points even though I fell over. That's not great though. Yeah, you have to push the direction the skier is indicating to maintain your balance, and then you have to press the button to land safely as well, which I failed to do that time. So there we go. That was quite an impressive length that time. I don't think that's going to make up for that pitiful first round though. 45.3 points. Yeah. Yeah, if I hadn't messed up that first round, that could have gone much nicer. But oh well. We are still top of the heap with 4 gold medals though. And now it is on to the biathlon. As the old joke goes, if a triathlon is running, cycling and swimming, then surely a biathlon must be running and cycling, right? Nope, it is cross-country skiing and rifle shooting. So in this one, you have to sort of rhythmically press the 1 and 2 buttons in order to maintain a decent pace. This isn't a hammer them frantically, this is a press them rhythmically. The instructions say you should press them in time with the skier's movements, but that's not true at all. You just need to find the right pace and maintain that. And you see the timer in this one is actually running slightly faster than real time, because otherwise you would be spending sort of 15 minutes of real time doing this. So anytime you get to one of these markers, you have a bit of shooting to do. So you have the wibbly wobbly magnified sight there, and you have to aim at the targets and carefully missed. Shit. Oh dear. And hit them until they flip over. And for everyone you miss, you get a time penalty at the end. So again, just about maintaining the speed, keeping that pace. That's the stuff. And then another bit of shooting time. Ow. Okay. It's fine. As long as you can keep up a decent pace, missing a few targets isn't the end of the world. I forget how many times you have to do the shooting. 3 or 4. The course is like 20 kilometers, I think. Right, here we go again. Oh no. I want to know who designed wobbly aiming systems. I just want to talk to them. I just want to talk to them. I won't hurt them much. Just a little bit. Rubbish. Should be a kilometre marker at some point. 14 kilometres, so not far left to go. Right, I think this is the last target shooting. Oh, I got lucky there. Oh no. Oh, damn it. Oh, I lost the rhythm. Come on, pick up some speed, please. I'm not sure if the last bit is more of a sprint, because I feel like I'm having to press the buttons more quickly here to maintain speed. Certainly on the Mega Drive version, there is a last sprint section that it specifically says you have to press the buttons more quickly for. So I'm not entirely sure if that's the case on this version, because it didn't mention it on the Master System instructions. But there we go. Okay, there's our time penalties. Alright, comfortably ahead of everyone else still there. So another gold medal for us. Thank you very much indeed. Five gold medals. Look at that. All right, another slalom time. This time the giant slalom. So this one is, I think, the trickiest of all the skiing ones, because there's a lot of gates to deal with in this one, and it's quite easy to miss them. So again, you just want to take your time, watch carefully for where the gates are, and make sure you get them. I did get credit for that one, thankfully. Because again, if you miss just one gate, you'll be disqualified from the whole thing. And there's no second chances. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no. Alright, well. This just shows you how the disqualification system works. We just get to the bottom of the hill then. Definitely no medal for us that time. Disqualified. It happens to the best of us. Okay, and then we conclude with the regular slalom, which works exactly the same way. Again, just ski through the gates, try not to miss any. You know, one thing I kind of miss is, like, in the very, very earliest days of gaming, you know, we're talking Atari 2600 and Philips G7000 era, there were games that were just skiing, and I've always had a real soft spot for those games. Like Activision did a good one on 2600, there's a fun one in television, there's a good one on Philips G7000 as well. Like I say, I've always been fond of skiing games for some reason. They're just a kind of switch your brain off sort of game, where you just swing back and forth between the gates, try and get the best time. Anyway. Oh, we didn't get the best time that time. I was overly cautious, I think. Oh, we have another round though. Alright, let's try and make up a bit of time then. Oh no. Come on. Making up a bit of time is no good if you then lose a bunch of time by being utterly cack-handed. Oh, I missed one. Damn it. I was so close to the end as well. Oh well. Disqualified. Alright, I think we've won overall though. Yep. Comfortable win there with 5 gold medals, ahead of Russia with 2 gold and 2 bronzes. And then we get the thrilling end sequence. And that's it. That's it. Oh, the complete lag of fanfare at the end of that is quite funny to me. But still, like I say, like most games of this type, I think this would be super fun if you were playing with other people. But it is nice that there is a single player game there as well that you can enjoy by yourself. There's 3 difficulty levels to play on as well, so you can try and get all of the medals at each difficulty level, and that will keep you playing a little bit. Or you can practice the individual events, just try and get your best possible time in them. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad game at all. I think this is a pretty decent little game actually, that I've become rather fond of. So yeah, I'll probably be coming back to this to play this a bit more in my free time when I'm not babbling away on the camera at you like this. So anyway, that's enough of that for today, I think. It just remains for me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.